Good morning students, how are you all? Hope you all are fine. So today we shall be continuing with the same chapter, force and laws of motion, and we shall be starting from that point that where we have left in the last class. I hope that you will enjoy the class. So let's start. We have already studied about the second law of motion. A little this way known the definition. Today we shall be deriving it, how that law can be derived, or how, because we know that it is a mathematical form or it gives the quantitative data about the laws of motion. So we shall be knowing it today. Now let me read the second law of motion once. It is the change in momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Means how much momentum will be changing, that will be directly proportional to the force applied, and it will take place in the direction of the force. Right. So if I write the definition in short, it will be something like that. Force is directly proportional to the change in momentum by time taken. And we know that momentum is a vector quantity. It means that it will be having direction along with magnitude. So here the direction of the change in magnitude will be in the direction of the force applied. Right. So now let us derive it. We know that momentum P is equal to mass into velocity. This is already known to us. Right. So let us denote force by F. F is directly proportional to change in velocity. So that if V is the final velocity, U is the initial velocity. So force according to the second law of motion will be proportional to the, see, if V is final velocity, U is initial velocity, then according to the second law of motion, which states that force will be directly proportional to the change in momentum. It means that final momentum will be equal to mv and initial momentum will be equal to mu if m is considered to be the mass of the body by time taken. Right. So in short we can write it somewhat like this. You already know that change in momentum, or sorry, change in velocity or rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. So what we found, force will be equal to mass into acceleration. Force will be equal to mass into acceleration. Right. So mass into acceleration is equal to, you already know that force acting on a body will be equal to the mass into acceleration, and now we have also derived it from second law of motion. It just means that the mass into acceleration will be equal to force, which will also be equal to change in momentum by time taken. This is what the second law of motion says. So now you can see that here whatever we will be doing, mathematics will be involved. Mass, some amount should be there, acceleration, some amount should be there. If we are taking in the case of momentum also, mass and velocity, all are some numbers, time also some number, means mathematics is involved. So the second law of motion gives the quantitative data about the laws of motion. Right. Now we shall be understanding some of the applications of second law of motion. Means we shall be using some, I shall be saying you some examples and I shall be saying you where the second law of motion is applied in those cases. So here I will be giving you 2-3 examples related to the applications of second law, and if you could share me some more examples in comment section, then I will be happy. So first will be catching a cricket ball. Catching a cricket ball uses of seat belts right? So now let us see in these cases how we are using second law of motion, like how the concept of momentum is being used, or how we can explain all these things using this, right? See, I have written here force is equal to del P by T. Don't get confused by this triangle. It is nothing other than change in momentum. Change in momentum by time. See, in all these cases, what we shall be doing? We shall be dealing with this time. You can see from this that you can see from this part that force is inversely proportional to time. Right? Means if the time is more, then force acting on the body will be less, and if time is less, force acting on that body will be more. Now let us come to the first case. While catching a cricket ball, right? Suppose imagine that this is a cricket ball, right? So while catching, I will be having two cases. Either I will be catch directly, ball is coming and I got it, right? The ball is coming, I got it. Or what I will be doing, ball is coming, I will be catching and pulling my hands backward. So in first case, I do not pull my hand backward, and in the second case, I pull my hand backward, right? So now let us understand the first case, and afterwards we will understand the second case. You must have observed or you must have played while playing cricket. You must have seen that, or you must have observed others while catching the ball. They used to pull it backward. Means they used to use the second case, not the first case. They will not catch the ball directly, right? So what is the problem in catching the ball directly, and what is the benefits in catching the ball while pulling it, or taking it little more time? In first case, when I catch the ball directly, it is obvious that when the ball is moving, it must be having some momentum. Means that ball has some mass and some velocity with which it is moving. So it must be having some momentum. As I will be catching it, it means that its momentum will change to 0, because its velocity will become 0. So its momentum will become 0 in first case. Momentum will become 0 in first case. In second case also, momentum will become 0. Right. Finally, momentum will become 0 because velocity of this ball is going to be 0. In first case, as I am not pulling my hand backwards, I am catching the ball directly. So the time taken by this ball, or the time taken by this body to become or to get the 0 momentum will be very less. Right. Here the time will be very less. Ball comes directly, I caught the ball, and the time of reaction will be very less. While in this case, time of reaction will be little more. While catching the ball, I will be pulling this backward. So while pulling, the time of reaction will be little more. So here I can say that time will be more. See, if time becomes more, time factor, you can see that if I increase the time, the force that will be less, or the pain of catching this ball will be less. If it becomes very less, if the time becomes very less, in the first case, I will be feeling pain while catching the ball. So in order to catch the ball easily, we used to pull it backwards, and this all the cricketers used to do while catching the ball. Right. So I hope that you have understood this part. While catching a ball, how do we use second law of motion? Right. So now let us come to the second case, in which it is shown uses of seat belts. Right. In case of seat belt, right, let us say we are traveling in a vehicle and all of a sudden got brake. The driver applied the brake. So what will be happening? As we are in motion, and we have some mass, so we must be having some momentum, right? As the driver applied the brake, we shall be having 0 momentum afterwards, because the velocity will be 0. But here you can see that the time will be very less. In first case, if there is no seat belt, first case, no seat belt. Second case, with seat belt. Right. So in first case there will be no seat belt. So let's say this is the vehicle on which you are traveling, and all of a sudden the driver applied the brake and you will stop all of a sudden. So here the time will be very less. But in this case, as there is a seat belt, so while the driver will be applying the brake, you shall be traveling a little further and come to rest. So here the time will be more. So as here in the second case, while using a seat belt, the time of reaction will be little more. It just means that you shall be experiencing less force when the brake is applied. So if there would have been no seat belt, then the time of reaction will be very less. And if the time of reaction will be very less, then while the brake is applied, you shall be experiencing more force. Or that may damage or that may cause accident. So that's why it is always recommended to use seat belts in vehicles. Right. I hope that you have also understood this case, how the uses of seat belts can be explained by the second law of motion. Now it is up to you to define how in third case, in case of high jump or long jump, we use second law of motion. Right. So that's it for today. We shall be meeting in second class. I hope you will enjoy the class and stay blessed.